Hello everyone and welcome back to the STPL once again. My name is Kix, joining me over there is Rapid, and we're here for another day of STPL.
That's right, it's another bright and sunny day here at 4 a.m. in South Korea. Of course, probably brighter elsewhere in the world. It's starting to be cold a little bit. We just finished Chuseok, or Korean Thanksgiving, out here, and so everything's starting to get back to normal. And same thing with the STPL, with season 3 just now starting, or I guess round 3 if you want to be official. And we're already 2 whole days into it, Kix.
Yeah, this is the second day now. We saw some really cool games on Monday, and we're going to see another couple of them today. But first, let's quickly introduce our maps for today. So starting in set 1, we're going to have eOnzerg. Set 2 is going to be on Plasma. Set 3 on Coliseum 2. Set 4 on Benzene. And set 5, if we make it to it, is the ace match on Athena 2.
Okay, I'm always happy to see more Athena in my life. This is basically Sylphide Light, or maybe the map that kind of inspired that. Everything else looks pretty cool except for Plasma, which I still have no idea. Like, every game on that map just looks so weird.
Yeah, it is kind of a weird map, but just to quickly have an overview of the group so far, of course there's been one game played, so White Clan currently leading the group with a 3-for-2 game difference, so Bull doing a really good job against them. Did lose against White, but not in an easy way, so kind of interesting there. But our first 2 teams for today are going to be NaS versus aSh. Now NaS, the North American squad, now with a few players from outside the North America, did pretty good last round, did pretty good in round 1 as well. Not quite good enough to make it into the playoffs, but they're going to be trying to make it there this time.
Yeah, I would say that for me, every time I get a chance to watch, NaS play, I mean, these guys are super, super talented. I don't think their roster varies too much per week. Usually, you always get a chance to see at least some of the Peruvians play. Very, very excited to see how they do against aSh, who I do hope show up a little bit more, or just at all.
Yeah, that would be good. Now aSh did struggle a little bit, but here is going to be their lineup for today. We're starting off with a ZVP between eOnzerg and Herby, a TVZ between Terra and Jojo, a ZVP between Dragon and Bao, because of course Dragon does not play PvP, he race picks, and a PvZ between Sugo and Super Saiyan.
Yeah, I do like it when I see players race pick. I think it was Dandy that race picked versus Terror in where was I watching that? Oh, it was where was that? It was
BSL,
yeah, it was, and it was fantastic. Had a lot of success there. That was the finals of the Pro Series, or semifinals, I believe.
Yeah, of course. He also did it in Clash for Chara a few times as well, but let's introduce our first 2 players. We're going to have eOnzerg fighting for NaS here. Now, eOnzerg is a very good player, one of the best foreign players at the moment, and his ZVP is absolutely insane. The one person I know that could stand up against eOnzerg in ZVP is Bonith, the other one being DeWalt, so Herby is going to have his work cut out for him here as the player for aSh. Now, he did join them in the previous round. He actually went 0 for 3, but he did play one game, I think, in round 1. But he did go 1 for 1 against Zerg, but none on the level of eOnzerg. So this is going to be an uphill battle for him, especially as he moves on here to eOnzerg. Now, eOnzerg, we haven't had a ZVP on here yet. I know historically it's a pretty good map for Zerg as well. There's a very wide open choke at the natural. Kind of hard for Protoss to get a 3rd gas as well, which really does help Zerg out. And just an overall quite a wide map as well.
Yeah, I would say one of the kind of limitations of this map is that if you want to get a gas outside of your main or natural, there's only realistically one place to get it, and that is the 3 and 9 o'clock bases. So a lot of times, especially if you spawn in situations or have like tank line, or if you spawn close to your opponent, that can be like super heated, and especially if you go long games, it becomes a real kind of point of contention. So some cool stuff, but overall one of our more standard maps, and I haven't seen too much imbalance here, although I do know that there are some pretty cool places to put tanks, like right outside that ledge outside the natural.
Yeah,
feels good.
That's very good. Hopefully we'll see that a little bit later in round 3. Of course, we've got so many games coming up. But let's head on to our first game here on Neo Ground Zero. It's NaS's eOnzerg versus aSh's Herby. Let's get going. Okay, I've forgotten all of the
hotkeys. How does it work?
There we go. I was like, I even turned them off, but they turned back on when I went into the game for some reason. But here we go. Starting in the top left-hand corner, we do have fighting for aSh. It's going to be their stand-in co-captain. It's Herby.
Yeah, what a stand-in, man. It's like, oh, by the way, can you stand in? You've got to play against his opponent in the bottom right-hand corner in the yellow. This is eOnzerg. We're playing for NaS. Yeah, it's like, by the way, can you take this bullet real fast?
Yeah.
Of course, eOnzerg, super talented. Watching in stream, he was teaching me some lessons. You wanna know the lessons that eOnzerg taught me?
I mean, go ahead. I know he's talking.
So he said there's basically 3 steps to any Brood War game. He said, all right, step number 1 is don't die to a rush. Step number 2 is make a good army, and step number 3 is destroy your opponent. Now, he said it with his sexy eOnzerg accent, so obviously I can't imitate that. But the point was, he really kind of broke it down. And these steps, I really feel like, if you've ever seen that, like, draw the rest of the owl meme, like, this is basically his approach to Brood War. So I'll see how well that works out when I try it on the ladder. I immediately queued up a game and lost instantaneously to a +1 Zealot all in. And yeah, it didn't feel so well. So I failed the first step. So maybe if I can make it beyond that, I'll have a little bit more success. But maybe Herby will have to succeed past the first step too, because this is an early-ish pool coming down. No hatchery just yet. So we'll see exactly how hard eOnzerg wants to go for this.
Yeah, now we see Herby going for a Forge Fast Expand, which luckily enough for him is going to be pretty good at defending against any possible Ling All-Ins or anything, but I mean, we saw eOnzerg Ling All-In and take down FAMASE in a previous series when NaS played against White in round 2, so it's going to be hard to defend against this. And I mean, sort of my story about eOnzerg is his advice to me is I'm bad and I'll always be bad and just give up, but it's all good, because eOnzerg said he wasn't going to play in this tournament, and then here he is, so who won in the end?
Kicks wins again, and never bet against the Kicks. So drone scouting, just to try to figure out what's going on, scouts the wrong direction, and now is actually going to scout correctly. Herby gets the right scout first time around, but he sees that there's nothing too crazy. No gas taken, of course, really tells you a whole lot about what the Zerg wants to do.
Yeah, we should see a third hatchery coming up here very shortly. The Lings, of course, not going to have speed for a very long time as well, so Herby can live with just 1 cannon. Going to be able to build his gateway as well, and sort of go towards finishing off that wall. Back at home, he's not actually got his gas himself either, so he's going to be a little bit off of getting his core and things like that.
Taking a few hits on that probe, no shields, so maybe it'll go down before the 18-minute mark. Sometimes it feels like it lasts that long, but should be okay for now. No third hatch. Oh yeah, there's the third hatchery. Just right as I say it, it gets put down, and it is at that basically the closest gas base that you can get. No use for the mineral only, and just now finishing up and starting to mine that gas as well in his main.
Now, if I was to look at this, based on not only my knowledge of how eOnzerg plays, but also the location of the base, I would say it's likely we're going to see a very aggressive Hydralisk style coming out here from eOnzerg. You can obviously, on this map, take a very sort of Savior-esque other natural. It's quite far away, realistically, from your opponent. But this allows him to be a little bit more aggressive. The rally's going to be a bit closer as well. And it's going to be a little bit harder to take a 4th base later on.
Yeah. One of the big features of Neo Ground Zero is that it has, I think, some upwards of like 10 Kakaroos on it. So those are light blue and they float around the map. But Herby is actually kind of the same color of blue. So I can't tell where the probe is scouting and where the Kakaroos are flying sometimes. Well, the probe just died,
Yeah.
so now I don't have to worry about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, there we go.
The worst one is when you play Sparkle and there's just like Kakaroos flying around your main like the entire
Always
game.
kill the Kakaroos, man. Like, even if you have to worry about shuttle harass or whatever, just build a Wraith or a Corsair or whatever and just go around, take them out. The world will thank you.
Yeah, but then you've also got to worry about the critter curse that I believe it was actually Tasteless came up with years ago when he was watching a game for TSL, I believe it was, on Destination, where he said no matter who kills the Panda Bear guy always seems to lose. So whether or not the Kakaroos have the same magical properties, not too sure, but unlikely we'll see that in this game.
Yeah, I mean, this is wishful thinking for my part. But what are we going to see this game, Kicks Boy? Well, I'm glad you asked. The answer is some idle drones that are mining, but I think the real point is that with Lair coming out, I think he wants to make sure that there's as little. Where is that drone going? Okay, they're mainerding up. I was like, are those guys going to fight? I don't know. But the idea is that we're probably looking for five hatch? Where's the 5th hatchery?
Well, it's 4 hatch at the moment. There's a Spire coming up as well, and the good thing is Herby actually managed to scout that, so we should see a Stargate coming in very, very soon if he's not built one already. Looks like he's going to add the 2nd gateway first. But eOnzerg playing a little bit strange here, going to go into a Hydra stem behind this as well, and that 5th hatch going to go up at the 3rd base too.
Yeah, okay, I was just waiting for the 5th hatch. Like, I think for a long time it was either like 2, 3, or 5 hatches. That was like, those were the Zerg builds. And lately, I think I've started to see a few 6 hatches mixed in there when you just need that extra little oomph. And I don't think 4 hatcheries is a thing, but maybe somebody else can correct me on that one. So yeah, 5 hatch Hydra is going to be coming out here, and if you can get the first 2 Scourge to snipe a Corsair or something along those lines, then absolutely you can switch into Muta, and we've seen eOnzerg have a bunch of success with that.
Yeah, now the crazy thing is we don't actually see a Stargate coming in from Herby.
Yeah.
He's going to add double cannon in his main mineral line. He's really worried about Mutalisk play, and I don't genuinely think that it's going to be Mutalisks. Like, eOnzerg likely just going to get a couple of Scourge if needs be, but we can see he's just adding on a lot of Hydralisks behind this, and Herby's over-eagerness to maybe kind of second guess exactly what eOnzerg's doing is going to hurt him here.
Yeah, so he really did kind of bunker down a little bit. 4 cannons when you haven't really read what your opponent is doing is a pretty big commitment. I mean, it's going to keep the mutas off if they ever do come, but that's, you know, as we can see, not really going to be the case. Now, +1 and speed just now finishing up for Herby, so he's going to go for this, but man, look at this SimCity Kicks. There's no way you bust through that.
Yeah, that's going to be very, very difficult to go through. Whether or not you break through the Zerglings, you've then got to go through the Hydralisks and the Sunken Colonies. And it looks like the 3rd base has a similar setup, but Herby knows where the 3rd is. He saw some links coming down, and it looks like he's going to try and go in and try and snipe as much as he can. The drones have been pulled, but it looks like he's going to have to try and retreat with the Lings trapping him on the ramp.
Yeah, perfect usage of like the drones to drill for a second, but not overcommitting them. The Lings on the ramp and the Hydras behind. Perfect SimCity. Man, eOnzerg, one of the, I guess, unsung heroes of what makes him such a good player is just like the architecture, right? This guy really, really well practiced, the solid fundamentals, kept him safe at both places that Herby tried to attack, and now, you know, he's got to kind of head back home with his tail between his legs, and I mean, he's going to be on 2 base for what feels like quite a while.
Yeah, he's going to have a lot of trouble expanding now. We're going to see a lot more Zealots coming in. Of course, he will get Storm, and this map is pretty good for Storm. You can see like there's a nice choke here. Obviously, it's quite wide though. Not as wide open as some map middles, like Andromeda, for instance, but still going to be a few little alleyways he can maybe try and abuse, and if he can get on top of this high ground to take his 3rd base as well, he may be in a good position, but he's a long way off of doing that.
Oh, yes, quite a while. Where are these Hydras really going? I guess trying to kind of skirt around any scouting that is on his way. He probably knows that he doesn't have to worry about observers just yet. It's definitely not the direction that Herby went. But actually, it's been a while since eOnzerg scouted to see exactly what he was going up against. Although with the legs, you can probably guess it's Templar tech behind that, unless your opponent's really trying to throw you off.
Yeah, looks like eOnzerg wanted to make sure there was no hidden third, but here we go. One of the High Templar actually very far out, needs to pull that back.
Whoa, no,
that's gonna be bad.
Oh my god, he's gonna get the High Templar. Wait, does that mean there's only 2 behind this?
Yeah, but there's a DP here and there's no Overlords.
Yeah, there is an Overlord. It's right there. Well, it's just now coming up, so it gets there just in the nick of time. And how far away? We're 9 energy away kicks from Storm. Actually, one of the High Templar has Storm right now, but he's just trying to buy as much time as possible. Actually, a bad Storm that turned good when eOnzerg tried to run in there, but that's all the Storm energy, so I think second time's the charm. Although Herby does have a flanking force of Zealots that could either deny reinforcements or come in for, like I said, a flank.
Open.
Yeah, they tried to sort of push their way through into the natural, found a lot more Hydras back at home, but this is one of the real stories. We're going to have Lurkers coming in behind this as well. And I mean, Herby losing that Storm, going to be a little bit off of Robotech, going to be a while from getting his observers. He's got the robot, but no Bay or anything like that. So, I mean, Herby's not doing a bad job here. Like, I would have expected, and I don't mean to sound mean by this, but I would have expected eOnzerg to kill Herby with the first push, and Herby survived.
Honestly, there was a lot of potential for eOnzerg to bust through, especially just 2 cannons right there at the front. I mean, there's a third one, but it's a little bit further back. But, you don't want to overextend there, and I think for eOnzerg, what is that adage about getting more ahead? That's kind of exactly what he's doing right now. He's going to take a mineral only just because it's close and probably look to secure a gas base here in the near future to kind of get up to that next level of tech. As you can see, he's double upgrading behind this, droning, making sure that he has everything that he needs, and just kind of skirting around to find what Herby's next move is going to be.
Yeah, no, the good thing is for Herby is he does have his observatory up, so any lurker pushes will be able to be repelled slowly but surely, but we haven't seen the switch into Dragoons or anything like that yet for Herby. Not really able to afford it too much at the moment. And he's just going to be relying a lot on cannons, a lot on Zealots, and a lot on Storm. But whether or not that's going to work for him, I'm not too sure. It looks like he has got the High Templar upgrade for energy, so that's going to allow him to at least get a good number of Storms off from his High Templar. But as we've seen previously in the STPL, it depends if he can make use of them. We've seen a lot of high energy and High Templar going down, so hopefully we won't see that here.
Yeah, hopefully. What are these Zealots doing? It feels like they're just kind of running around in circles, like actual literal circles.
Yeah, they're doing laps around the middle.
I mean, they've got legs, so I guess they're going to be pretty good at that. But the problem is that, like, this is almost purely Zealot High Templar. And, I mean, Zealots are pretty good against Hydras, but, I mean, there's going to be a bunch of Lings here complementing this Zerg force. And, I mean, Herby's going to mine out here pretty soon. He's got to look to get a third.
Yeah, Herby does need to get a third. It's going to be hard to as well. I mean, maybe with the style he's going for, he could possibly go for the mineral only. But he's just adding on a lot of gateways. I mean, it's still possible that he's just going to go for a big all-in attack here. He's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 gateways. And when you're sat on 8 gateways producing, it's very hard to expand anyway. So maybe Herby just wants to try and hold on to this attack coming in from eOnzerg, and then go for a big counter to try and end the game.
I think the longer eOnzerg stays in this game, the more he, realizes he's probably going to be in a better spot. He's just continuing to take bases, get his infrastructure up. 3 hatcheries at the 4th, so he is just going to be able to get as many units as he could possibly ever want. I think the biggest thing that these Scourge scout out is that this is an entirely gateway force, so no higher tech units, no detection, nothing along those lines. And I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if we start to see maybe a lurker switch here any second now, just as sort of the natural progression of tech here. I guess he actually already does have a few lurkers. I meant like even more.
Yeah, now one of the big problems that Herby had was when those initial Hydras did bust in, they killed the Forge and the Gateway at the front. Now, losing that Forge denied his +2 attack for a very long time. He's only just
Mm-hmm.
now started researching it, and maybe if this army had +2, he might have been able to do something. But maybe he just wants to try and hold on to a position in the middle and take a third, but still, he's got a really, really long road ahead of him if he wants to try and come back in this game.
How did those two Zerglings run through the whole army and still manage to survive? That one Zergling is going to block that 9 o'clock base from even coming up. So, I mean, that's pretty bad. That means when this... Oh, he's going to send a single Dragoon down there. But now there's more Zerglings dedicated just to try to stop that base. So as long as eOnzerg can defend down here, and maybe he'll actually be able to pick off this one Observer. That's the only detection that he has to try to break through these Lurkers.
Oh, there was two Observers, but both of them go down. I can't believe that. Both of them go down, and these Lurkers just going to be completely invulnerable, but they are incredibly well stacked, so maybe if we see some storms, he could do something with this, but he's going to retreat for now.
Yeah, at this point, I mean, eOnzerg is almost maxed out here. I don't think that's supposed to happen. You know, correct me if I'm wrong. It's not like I know exactly, but in general, the Protoss should have more than just two bases, and the Zerg should not be about to max out.
Yeah, especially at 15 minutes into the game. It's kind of like with eOnzerg's tech. Just his macro really explode very, very quickly. It looks like we're going to have a big army moving up to try and intercept the army of the Protoss player. Now he's losing High Templar without throwing any storms down. I mean, he gets a nice storm there, but that's another High Templar going down with full energy. So, oh, it's so awkward to watch this.
Oh no, we're gonna see 3, 4, almost 5 High Templar go down. Oh my God, he just killed almost. I mean, there's tons of High Templar.
Yeah,
so don't get me wrong.
There's so many of them.
Yeah, I actually didn't expect that. Man, if you ever watch Tasteless play, one of the characteristics if the game goes long is that he'll just spontaneously have like 25 High Templar. Because he just like casually keeps building them and he's like, oh wait, my army is entirely Storms. So sometimes that's a good thing and sometimes that's a bad thing, but that's kind of looks like what Herby's up to. He just like moves out and he's like, oh, by the way, I can lose 5 High Templar and still have 10 left over.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it works, and especially late game, like in Herby's case, he's going to have a lot more gas than he has minerals. I know he's got quite a big bank at the moment. But it's kind of ironic, because so is eOnzerg, but it's mainly because he's unable to spend his money. He's been nearly maxed for a long time, and it looks like this could be the move that ends the game. There's going to be armies coming in from 3 different angles to do this around. I'm going to zoom out just a little bit to see if I can show more of it, because there's just units everywhere from eOnzerg.
Oh my God. I mean, Storm's pretty good, but so is not having detection against Lurkers. Actually, no, that's pretty bad.
Oh my God, he just stormed his own High Templar. 2 of them went down.
I watched that, man. You do not want to be a High Templar in Herby's army. It is not the place. Not the place to be.
He just stormed another one as well. There's so many dead High Templar here from Storm that... I mean, he's nearly cleaning up all the army, but this is just round 1. You can see round 2 heading across the map right now. And there's even Defilers in the mix now. And Herby is holding on to his last breath, but I think this is going to be it. I think we're going to see the GG.
I mean, I will say, one Storm killing 3 Lurkers simultaneously, that's pretty good. But yeah, in the end, just macro out of control for eOnzerg. He will take game number 1 for NaS.
Now that was kind of an insane game. I genuinely can't believe that it went on that long. But I mean, Herby showing a little bit more. That sounds like an odd word, but I was going to say a little bit more spunk. But then I was like, wait, no one uses that word in that context anymore. But either way, he did pretty well to get to the point he did. His macro wasn't completely terrible against eOnzerg. So, I mean, if you're going to go against eOnzerg in the first game, there's going to be a lot of nerves heading into that as well. So. Sort of big shout out to him. But of course, congrats to eOnzerg for winning the game. We'll be back in just over a minute with the second.